Hello there, Internet. My name is Michael, and I'm on a mission to rescue, restore, rebuild, and return to full working order this 100-year-old Wurlitzer 105 band organ. I've been working on it for quite a while now, and as you can see, it's coming along. This week, we're going to cover the bellows in leather. Now, you may be wondering, once the air pressure builds up in here, why it doesn't just spring out. Well, that's because we have these stiffeners, 2 on either side in each chamber, that we glue to the inside of the leather that stops it from blowing out. So I have to cut the leather and glue on these things, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. I just received the leather from Columbia organ leather, and I've got that here. So I'm going to open this and see what I've got, and then I'm going to open this package, which is what I've got the material for these bellows stiffeners. And then once we've opened these up and seen what we've got, we'll start cutting them to size and shape. Just got to tell you that we've almost hit 2,000 subscribers. That's pretty remarkable, if you ask me, for such a niche subject. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And I love to hear comments. I reply to every single comment. So yes, let's do that. Let me know where you're from, why you're listening, why you like band organs, and I'll get stuck into this. Okay, let's see what we got from Columbia organ leather. Should be half a skin of the leathers which I use now. Got to be very careful not to cut into the leather, but I'll tell you what I'll do is I will rip it. That'll be easier. Don't want to risk cutting the leather. Wow. I did ask for half a leather, but I actually got a full leather. So yes, we're going to have plenty. I thought it was expensive. No, I've actually got twice as much as I need, but that's okay. I'm going to lay this out and cut the strips I need. Well, as I mentioned, this skin is much bigger than I thought, so I don't know quite what's the best way to lay it out and cut it. I've got these wonderful drawings from Bob Humes, who absolutely spectacular technical drawings, and he shows exactly where the dimensions are and how I need to cut a piece of leather and put all of these stiffeners on there. So that's, again, thank you, Bob. He's put them out in the public domain so anyone can get copies of these. You know, I think I'll take this into the garage and set it up, because I'm going to need a bit more space. And to be honest, the lighting's not good in here. So you may have noticed I'm using a microphone now. So if you think this sounds better than previously, let me know. If you think it's crap, keep it to yourself. I'll get this into the garage now and get set up for cutting the leather. Is get a nice straight edge. So I've got it, I'm going to take it down the edge of the table. Now I can use a pen on top of the leather on the nice side, because it will be cut off. Right, Now for some sharp scissors. Now there are some holes and imperfections in the leather, so I'm being very careful to make sure I've just missed them. Now I need to make sure that they're long enough when I cut them. Now you can join leather if you don't have pieces that are big enough through a process called skiving, and then you glue them up. That's where you thin the leather and then you overlap one thinned area with another thinned area, and then you can glue them together. But I've never done that. I don't know how easy or difficult that is. I may have to do it this time, but I'll try and avoid it. So I'm going to do some calculations with these dimensions now and see if I've safeguarded enough to do it without skiving. I need 5 pieces in total, 4 pieces to cover the bellows. There are 2 chambers. There's 2 chambers in each of 2 halves. That's 4. And then 1 piece to go around the wind reservoir. Slightly different size, and there's a separate drawing for that. So I'm just going to do some mathematicals and see where I end up. Right, so now I know how long they have to be. I'm going to see about cutting some strips now. The bellows need to be 9 inches tall. And the reservoir needs to be 12 inches tall. Right, some measuring, marking and cutting. I've got the 4 pieces ready for the bellows, and then for the reservoir on top I've got this piece ready. That's good. I had plenty of leather as it turned out, thanks to my mistake of ordering a full skin instead of a half skin. Now I have to cut the stiffeners which go on the inside. The stiffeners as shown on the drawings. Now I found templates that I made gotta be 15 years ago, so I'm just going to check the measurements and make sure that they are accurate, and then I will get the material that I bought for making the stiffeners but they're on a very large sheet, so I'm going to have to cut them up and do some work with that. So bear with me while I measure these up. Well, those are all good, so I can get in the package, open it up, and work out how I'm going to cut the sheets down to size and how I'm going to cut them to these strange shapes. All right, bear with me while I get the package. So now I've got the board ready to mark up. I'll take the templates and quickly draw out what I need to do before I cut them all up. Well, now it's time to glue the stiffeners to the back of the leather. So I'm going to mark up the leather and then I'll find out the best way for gluing them on. I'm going to be using hot hide glue as is recommended. But unfortunately with that you don't get too much setup time. So I need to do something that's going to be easy for me to slap on the glue, put these on and put a weight on it to hold it in place. I think I might use carpenter's tape to define the area so I can just slap on the glue like that, but we'll see. Now, I've often wondered how Wurlitzer divvied up the work in the factory. Did everybody learn to do everything? Did they have job rotation? Or were they a bit like Henry Ford and his assembly lines? Did they just learn to do one thing and then just sit there and do that day in, day out? I would imagine it was somewhere in between. Someone a specialist in leather, someone a specialist in tuning trumpet pipes. Those of us who are making our own from scratch or restoring, we have to learn every single skill, and this leather work lark is really quite interesting. It's a bit of a challenge. If you know how they did those jobs, I'd love to know whether they had specialists or whether everyone was a jack of all trades. Well, that's all 4 of these pieces of leather marked up. Now I'm going to mix up some hide glue, and then I will define this with some painter's tape, blue woodworker's tape, and that will make it easy for me to put the slap on the glue and easily put these in place before I put a weight on them to hold them to set up and go firm. So it's back to the garage. Right. So I'm going to define the area that I need glue on with carpenter's tape. That'll make it easy for me to use this hide glue to slap some glue in there and then put a weight on it. And I think I'll do it in 3 sections. This section, this section, this section. 4, so that's 12 sections to do it in. That shouldn't take too long. This glue sets up very quickly, so hopefully I'll have it all done this morning. Well, I'm ready, I think, to start gluing. I've marked up this one area, and then once I put the glue in there, I'll position these, and then quickly put on a piece of parchment paper, some pieces of board, and then I'll quickly add weights. And then I'll only have to leave it for a couple of minutes because that'll set up nicely. There's going to be collectively quite a large surface area gluing on these pieces. There are 8 of those, and then there are 16 of these, so that's a lot. So I've actually bought some high glue crystals. I've got a couple of different ones. Some have come from Piano Supply, and some I got from Wegland Piano Company on funnily enough, you can actually get it on Amazon now. So I remember when I did my replica, it took me ages to find a source for it and get it shipped. Now everything's at your fingertips. Go figure. Doesn't make any of this any easier. But now I'm ready to start mixing up some glue. So bear with me while it melts. I think I'm going to run down to the hardware store and get myself a new brush for this, because the one I had there, obviously, I think anyone who does this knows that you leave a brush in there over a period of time, it kind of gunks up, and it's not the kind of thing you can actually clean very well. You can clean paint brushes with thinners or alcohol-based turpentine or something like that. But with hide glue, it kind of does mess up a brush or two, so I'm going to go and get a new one for that. I'm just going to pour some crystals in there. It's always difficult to know how to mix this. I'm not very good with instructions. When I first mixed my first batch, 15, 20 years ago, I didn't even know that you were supposed to add water to it. So I put the dry crystals in the bottom, and then I was just astonished that nothing happened. It just didn't work. And the internet wasn't that good back then. That's very watery, so I'm going to add in some more. A little bit at a time. You can always add more, you can't take out. I know that's kind of an obvious thing to say. So I'm going to let that heat up and settle a bit. Okay, let's have a look at this witch's brew. Still a little thin. I'll add a few more granules. Oh, that's not opening. All right, the glue's ready. I've got all my bits and pieces laid out ready. So now I'm ready to glue on the first stiffeners. Well, I've let that stand for 10 minutes or so. That should be enough. Super. Time to go get another one. Be right back. Well, these have been under weights and setting up overnight. So now I'm going to take these all off, check it out, and we're ready to start gluing on the strips that go lengthwise. Now ready to put on the longer stiffeners on the sides, and I'll do the same as I did last time. I'll use tape to define the area, and then I've got grease-proof paper to put on that to prevent any sticking, and I got some bits of timber to go on top, and the weights. So it's a bit of rinse and repeat here. So here we go. So it's been setting up here for 15 minutes. I'm just going to check it out. And then if it's okay, I'll move it into the dining room where I've got a nice flat table there to put it under weights for a few more hours. Yeah, that looks terrific. So I will take this into the other room and bring back another one. So those bits of leather and the stiffeners were left overnight under weight to finish setting up. So now I've just got the final pieces of leather to go, pieces of stiffening to go onto this leather. So I'm going to go to the other room, bring the first one, and I won't bore you with all of it this time. I will just do one of them, and then I'll get back to you and explain what's going to happen next. Well, good morning. Time for me to take off these weights and see how it's all been, and then I'll move it into the garage and we'll tie up a few loose ends, okay? Well, that's them all uncovered. It's looking pretty good. So I'm going to move these into the garage now, and maybe we'll be able to tie up a few loose ends, and that'll be it for this week. Well, I think we've made some real progress this week. I've got the leather and the stiffeners all organized, and we made these before. These are the halves of the wind pump. In the next episode, I'll be restoring the pump boards that go in the middle of these and go up and down for pumping the actual air. They need cleaning, they need patching a bit, replace all the leather, of course. And then it'll be time to put the leather on the outside. Now, the reason I showed so much in this video is that I was looking online for advice and help, guidance, basically, on how to do all this, the leather and covering a bellows. And I couldn't find a single YouTube video where anyone, whether a professional or amateur restorer, hobbyist, has published anything. I think people don't like to put stuff out there because, you know, there's always these experts who are very critical, but I'm thinking, no, I want to just show it, warts and all, and hopefully it'll be useful to someone in the future, especially if they've got copies of Bob Hume's wonderful drawings. Well, that's where I'm going to leave it this week, and I hope to see you next week. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and please leave me a comment. I promise to reply to every comment. It also helps with the YouTube algorithm, and I'd like to share this with a few more people. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode. Cheers.